Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Michelle. I am the one you guys usually are talking to on the customer success team. Today, mainly our webinar is to kind of show you guys how to create open single room plans, right? So I've seen a lot of people make single room bathrooms or kitchen in our software, but then they make it with four walls, and it's kind of hard to kind of navigate when you're adding products in there or when you're putting materials in there. So I wanted to kind of show you guys how to be able to use the software to create an open plan for a room, as well as how to kind of set up an open floor plan if you need a kitchen and a living room kind of in the same space, but you need both of them to have different flooring, as well as being able to put a backsplash in a kitchen. So that's what we're here for today. I'm gonna go ahead and start and share my screen with you. All right, so we're gonna open this. Everybody knows the project information page. If you don't know, if you're new to the software, there's a project information page where you have the name of your project, the description. Also allows you to see your unit of measure. If you have already created your the title and everything for your project, and you would like to change your unit of measure, you can always select edit, and it takes you here, and you'll be able to change the name, and you can click on here, and this item convert the measurement system that allows you to change it from imperial to metric. All right, so let's go ahead and open the program today. If you have any questions as we are going through this, specifically about creating a single room plan or open floor plan, or creating a backsplash, or let's say having different materials on the outside of your home, just feel free to send us a chat, and I can answer your question as best as I could. All right, so first thing we're gonna do in the layout step, for this example, we're gonna be building out, let's say, a kitchen. Usually, what we find is a lot of people will start their project. I'm just gonna build out 4 walls here. Let's straighten it up. All right, and you're gonna start the project, and they kind of start like this, and then have, you know, the interior view, which is a lot harder, right? If you're working on something and you wanna be able to build out a kitchen, for example, you'll see that it is a lot harder to put a sink here, because then you don't know if you want to add a window here, what it's going to look like. So what we usually suggest is, when you're having a plan like this, if it's a kitchen, specifically if it's a bathroom as well, you actually want to just draw out 3 walls. So it'll look like this. But when you do this, you also want to close it out using your hidden wall. So you just take the hidden wall, and this is the tool that you'll use to kind of show the software that you need to create the space with a flooring, but you don't necessarily need the physical wall up, right? And this allows you, like, you can also click on it, make it smaller, and as you click on it, make it smaller or larger, the hidden wall is also going to be adjusted like every other wall. Excuse me. So yeah, this is what's gonna happen. Now remember, if you, let's say, let me delete this. If you draw, because I've seen some people will draw a hidden wall, and they'll start it right here, and they say, oh, but Michelle, my grid is still exposed. Well, you zoom in right here. The grid is still exposed because this wall is not enclosed. And anytime you see a room or a plan that doesn't have a square footage in the middle, that tells you to zoom in at one of the corners, because the wall has not been enclosed. And you don't have to go ahead and click on another hidden wall to add it. All you have to do is zoom at this very corner. You see this blue dot? Click on the dot and extend it and close it. And then you'll see the square footage. We're gonna name this, we're gonna rename this. Click right here in the right where it says information. We're gonna name it kitchen. You can go to your room types and select the kitchen as well. You can do either one. All right, let's go back here. So when you're working on your open plan, Let's go to this. This makes it easier. So now you're on your ground floor, and this makes it a lot easier to add items for your kitchen. So first, we're going to give our kitchen a window. And let's select. Why can't I find a good window? All right, we're going to select one of these. And let's give our kitchen this window. We're going to make it wider, taller. Okay. All right, so this is the window. And then this is when you just start placing items in the kitchen. You just start, let's say we'll put the dishwasher here. We'll put let's find a refrigerator. There we go. All right, let's put a refrigerator here. All right, let's say we're gonna make this, you decide, okay, I want this to be longer or wider. You have the option to do those as well. And just move it here. And remember, if the space is too large, so for this, we'll say the space is kind of large. So let's make the kitchen a little bit smaller. All right, go back here. Now you have a smaller kitchen. All right, you're gonna click on the product. And if you decide, all right, I want our products to have a different color. So the color that we currently have in the software, you don't want that standard color. So you wanna just kind of click on the product in the furnishing step. In the right panel, one of the things I tell people is one of the most important things in the software is your right panel. A lot of people overlook it. Please do not overlook it. The right panel is extremely important to be able to change the dimensions, to change the colors, to change the view. So we have like the mirror option to rotate your products. And this is for all of our steps. The right panel is important in the layout step, wall opening, roof, exterior, furnishing, materials, and all of that. So just always remember that. And another thing too is remember any product that you place in a step can only be edited or deleted in that step. So we're changing the color of the cabinets here. So we'll go here, you go to cabinets, and let's change it to let's find a blue. Change it to a blue color. All right. And then the front, we're going to change it to the same blue. And when you select all, notice that this changes all of that. And because these both are not in the same category is the only reason this part didn't change. But it's just simply just clicking on this. Your front view, you want the same blue. And your baseboard. And we can also change the sink. Let's say we're going to change the sink to stainless steel. And if you want to change the worktop, you have the option to do that as well. So for blue, let's use a type of marble. How about that? So this is what it looks like. Now, the tricky part about it is a lot of people want to, they want two different floorings in a plan that has a kitchen and a living room, but there's no actual physical walls dividing the space, which you can absolutely do in the software. You can do it without having to put a physical wall and lower the wall, which is something that we see a lot. We see people put an actual wall or a partition wall and then lower it to be able to have two spaces, which is not necessary. So there's a couple of ways to do this. The first thing you can use is your hidden wall. You use hidden walls, and let's say we're going to just divide this kitchen up in two. So now it's kitchen, let's say living room. Oh no, dining. So we're going to name this the dining room. kitchen, dining, and if you go to material step, in the material step, you notice two things. One, when you put your mouse on either area, now it looks like one space, but it's actually two different spaces now. The second thing I want you to notice is the baseboard is present in the kitchen, but there's no baseboard in the dining area. And I did that on purpose, because if you click on here, you notice the baseboard is unchecked. And sometimes people are like, I don't want a baseboard in the kitchen, or I don't need a baseboard in the kitchen. You can do that as well. You can take it off like it is in the dining room, or you can select to put it back. And here you go, it came back. So it's as simple as that. Now we're gonna change the flooring. So let's go to, you open your catalog, and we're gonna go to floor tiles. If you select all formats, all right, so for our flooring, for this example, let's pick something fun. All right, we're gonna use this floor tiles, and we're gonna select the floor. And now you also have the option, if you want it on all the coverings, it's going to actually cover the dining room as well. So in this one, we're not gonna select all. So for this purpose, I'm gonna select all. That's not what we want. We actually want to put a separate flooring. And if you notice, once I clicked in the dining area that's separate, let's go back to layout step. You notice the kitchen is separate from the dining. So back to the materials. That means now anything that you do in the kitchen is not going to also affect the dining room, unless you want it to. If you want it to, and when the option is present, you can select all, and you'll have the ability to put both materials in the dining room. And I've seen that with, specifically with hardwood flooring. People want hardwood flooring throughout their home. It's as simple as doing as that. But for those that want two different types of flooring or two different colors on the wall, this is your best option. All right, for the dining room, we're gonna do hardwood floors, just for this example. So let's click on this one. Click hardwood. All right, so you notice now we have two different floorings, but some people say, but Michelle, I don't want the baseboard to have hardwood floors. I want the baseboards to be white. So now all you have to do, just because the baseboard is changed, when you change your material, does not mean you cannot change it. Click on your baseboard. Let's select, this is wood. So we're gonna select white. Now you can put it all, and then all of the baseboard changes at once. Or if you only need the white baseboard in the dining room versus the kitchen, you can do that as well. This is the easiest way to create that open floor plan and be able to use two different materials. And the same thing applies to the walls. So if we're painting the walls and we want to use, let's see. All right, we want to use a type of blue on the walls. You can, this icon right here allows you to duplicate the colors of the wall. So remember that as well. And for this purpose, I want you to look here. When I put the blue on the wall, it's not one wall, it's two. Even though there's no physical wall, it's still two walls, similar to how the floor is still two floors. So remember that. And one of the reasons why the paint from back here is not going all the way throughout the room is because sometimes people use different paint colors in their spaces. So it's just kind of easier to just put the paint on one side in the software. That's what we have it doing. Put it on one side, and then if you decide you want the same paint color on the other side, when you click on it, click on this icon, or you can just click all, and then just click on where you want it to be. Or if you need another one, you can do that as well. I think I have a lot of blue going on. Okay, for our walls in the dining room, we're gonna just use a white color. No. All right. All right. Now, another question that I get asked kind of frequently is about creating a backsplash. So another way to create the backsplash in our system is to use zones. So you want to go to the material step. In this sub menu, you have materials, shapes, and zones. So if you click on zone, this gives you the option now to select either a wall, a horizontal, or a vertical area. Sorry. Or you have your floor area as well as your wall area. So since we need a backsplash and we want the backsplash to be horizontal, like a long horizontal space on the wall, you're going to click horizontal area. There's this box that's going to come up. Do you see this? This brown box here. This is your zone. This is the zone now where you're going to be able to place a different material in this zone specifically for your backsplash. So let's click on it, and then in the right panel, you have the option to increase the height. So let's make the space for the backsplash bigger. And you know what? For this example, let's load. I think our window is too large. All right. For this example, we increase the width or the height of your backsplash. So what we're going to do now, let's just go to tile. You're going to type in tile, or you can open the catalog and select the tile. For this, we're going to type in tile. For this example, I'm using a lot of different colors, but for this example, I want to show you guys if we just click on the material that you want and just select in the space. And it also gives you the same option. Do you want it all over? Do you want it only similar? And only similar is if you had more than one zone. If you select only similar, you'll be able to change the color in all the zones. It's not going to be in the whole room. It'll be in all the zones. If you select all, then it'll change the color everywhere. But we don't want that. So yeah, this is the easiest way to do a backsplash. And this is the same thing you can do in the bathroom. So you can also create a similar backsplash or a series of colors on the floors and the walls in the bathroom as well. If we were to use, let's say you said, oh, Michelle, I want to create a different kind of flooring, right? So for this example, what I'm going to do here is let's get rid of the kitchen area. We're going to say, all right, you need to create a bathroom, which is one of the most common. I'm going to delete this hidden wall for now. I'm going to create a small bathroom. Okay. In this space, you're like, okay, Michelle, how do I create a bathroom in a shower pan, but then be able to change the shower pan different from like the rest of the flooring? This is when also zones come into play. So if you select zone, on the floor, you can map out the floor area. You can increase the width and the length. And remember, I told you how important the right panel is. Now for the floor area, go back to your material, and we're going back to tile. Let's say you decide this is the tile that you wanted. This is not really a good example. Let's change this flooring a little bit. So yeah, let's say you decided this is the tile that you wanted for your shower pan. This is the best way to create the shower pan. And then when you go to your furnishing step, now you're able to just put a shower or shower head or the doors to the shower in here. So you can, let's say, this one already has a shower pan. All right, so this is just the door. So yeah, see? And you said to Michelle, but I want to flip this around. No problem. Two options. Click on here, click on these arrows to spin it. Or in the right panel, you can flip, it'll only flip where this black closing is. So it'll flip on this side. So just keep that in mind. Those are options that you have in the software. Or for example, if you have like a weird corner space and you decide, okay, Michelle, I don't want it to just rotate left and right. I want to be able to rotate a different way. That's easy. Click on this, and do you see where you have this kind of circular triangle looking icon? Click on that, and now you have more options to rotate your image. And the same options are in the right panel where it says rotation. So you can click on it, just hold down the click, and you can move it. So sometimes you want it to be right here, the shower. I don't know how your bathroom looks, but just in case, you're able to do that. All right, now you can click on it, and there you have it. All right, so if you are creating a space like this, let's put a toilet. All right, I'm gonna put a toilet here. If you're creating a space like this and you would like to create an HD visual, but you say, Michelle, it's too small, how do I create a really good visual? When you go to your HD visual step, and you go to rendering, remember, like I said, the right panel is extremely important. In the right panel, this is where now you're able to choose your environment. So we're gonna do an indoor sun environment. And you're gonna click on this middle icon right here. And this is the icon, this is the environment I recommend for anyone that's creating an indoor daytime look. If you wanna create something that's more of a evening, nighttime, and put your lights on, we also have the options for you to choose right here. But for this one, you're gonna click on this indoor sun. I always recommend to change your camera view down at the bottom to your eye level view. So if you look where my mouse is, towards the bottom, it says camera. Your first option says eye level. And that is as if someone is standing in the room taking a picture or looking at the picture. So let's click on it. And most of the time you kind of are zoomed out. You should have your mouse. If you have your mouse, zoom in. And just keep zooming until you get back in the room. Okay. And here you can also, in the right panel, click on your camera. You can change the height of the person. So the person was 6 foot. In here, I'm 5'7", so my elevation for my camera is set at 5'7". So just to kind of give you an idea of how to do it. And this is also how, if you create a rendering and the rendering looks like it's floating, you want to also come back here to parameters and see, okay, is my camera tilted? How is the orientation and stuff like that? So that kind of, keep that in mind as well. All right, so you're gonna come in, and I always say, look in this top view on the top right when you're taking a rendering. Do you want to be in the very front? Or you can move your camera, just click on your camera, left click on your camera, at the very top of the, kind of like the ball pin for like a baseball triangle, click on the dot, and now you can move it left and right. Or left click and hold down the left click, and you can move it up and down, and hold down the right click and you can move it sideways. Or you can just continue to use your mouse to zoom out and move it how you want it. I think using the camera, clicking on the camera to move it, is the easiest way to get the position, because then you know exactly where your camera is in your design. And then once you have it set how you want your environment to be, you have it set how you want your camera to be, make sure it's exactly at the angle. The software will tell you if your camera is stuck in the wall, so don't worry about that. Just bring it in, and now you select if you want a HD rendering or if you want a full HD rendering, and just ask for a rendering. So yeah, that's it. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, wait, I have to check. Can you create the thickness of the zone? Yes, you can make the zone thick by expanding the width and the length, but you won't be able to take it out from the wall. So that's one thing you won't be able to do, but you can expand it to be thicker or to be wider. I'm glad I was helpful. No problem. Do you have any other questions once you're like creating this kind of space? And also one thing also I want to point out is, if you notice think it was this one. If you notice, you already have a ceiling up here kind of already set. And that's also because when you go to your layout step, notice when you click in the room, in the right panel, you have your ceiling already checked. If you uncheck the ceiling, you'll see the sky. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes I have people asking about why is my ceiling, why don't I see a ceiling? Always make sure, click in the space that you're working on and in the right panel, make sure your ceiling is present. Do you have any other questions? Okay. And also this webinar is also going to be emailed to you. So if you have any other questions, if something that we talked about that you need a little bit more refresher on, you can always click on the link that we're going to email you, and you can watch the whole webinar again, or you can skip to the part that you need. And you can always send me an email at support@cedreo.com. 9 times out of 10, I'm the one that you're going to be speaking to. So I will remember. You can say, oh, Michelle, in the webinar, you said da, 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 and I will be able to remember what you're referring to. Okay. Thank you guys for joining me. Have a good day.